Hello, and welcome to another episode of Reflections on Reality. I am your host, the Reflector, and I think I'm going to talk a little bit today about reincarnation. This is kind of an oddballish time for me to be doing my reflections because I'm more of a night creature, so to speak. I usually do my reflectings in the wee hours of the late night or early morning, if you will. Usually, sometime during the midnight hour, between midnight and probably 3 a.m. Those are considered the witching hours. How about that? But this is just a coincidence that I choose those hours to speak. I guess that's when my mind is more alert. However, if you're like me, you're probably suffering the pangs of this pandemic and having to stay home more than usual. And as a result, I'm doing this day cast. Uh, I guess a part of the reason is because it's pretty gloomy outside. It's dark, even though it's barely 10 minutes to 2 p.m. It's pretty dark outside. There's a thunderstorm and it's severely overcast. So, it's almost as if I am reflecting during my usual time. But anyway, I wanted to talk about reincarnation. You know what that is. It means to die and then come back to Earth, be reborn on Earth in some way, shape, form, or fashion. And I guess that could be good or bad. It could be exciting or it can be scary. To me, the scary part would be, well, first of all, let me backtrack a little bit. What if the Hindus are right about reincarnation? What if they're right? You have to keep coming back until you get this life right. Learn how to live this life the way God wanted you to. Well, they're God. And before you can move on into the next phase, their particular heaven, I believe it may be called nirvana or something like that. But what if they're right? I mean, for me, I don't know. In my hope of hopes, if they were correct, I'd want to come back as a man again. But the downside of that to me is that it's as if you forget. What's the point of coming back if you don't bring back with you the previous knowledge of what you learned in a previous life? I mean, you really do have to start over again from scratch. And the problem with that is that, I mean, I don't know if you've noticed, but this world seems to be getting progressively eviler. I mean, people are becoming more distant from each other, more suspicious, more hateful, more hostile, aggravated. I mean, who wants to come back to an existence like that and not know what you've learned in the previous life or even lives? Because some people think that they've been here and reincarnated multiple times. But, I mean, I question that, but I don't know. I mean, who's to say? But, yeah, that would be my problem with coming back. Also, they say you can come back as animals. Now, I don't know if I would want to come back as an animal. I mean, what if you came back as a slug or something? You know, it's like, but I guess, I mean, being a slug, I mean, I guess you would have no knowledge of good and evil. The world wouldn't seem such a bad place. You just do what a slug does and call it a day. I mean, I guess it would be a nice thing to not have to go through this life without being depressed and without having anxiety and that kind of thing. You know what humans suffer from. All the mental issues humans have. I mean, it would be cool to live an entire life without uh, any mental issues. I mean, come on, let's face it. Here I am speaking to you with a mask. So, I mean, that depicts some kind of insecurity, and I'm not afraid to admit it. But I guess one of the things that would be beneficial about coming back as an animal would be not having human frailties, mental frailties, and insecurities, that sort of thing. So, and then when I put down coming back as an animal, I'm doing that from my self-righteous human mind. So you know, who am I to judge? I thought about it, what I would want to come back as, and I thought about, maybe I would like to come back as a powerful lion, king of the beast, a fearless big cat or something like that. And then I thought about it, and it's like, okay, well, lions are what they are, and they're tough, but they have a tough life too. A lot of the times, having to search for food and water and that kind of thing. Even though, like I say, they don't have the same mental frailties as humans, but it's still a hard life that they live. Then I thought about, well, maybe an eagle, you know, like an eagle, they can soar high up in the sky, they can they can get above the clouds. They can tolerate those higher atmospheres, and it's been said that eagles can gaze into the sun and not ruin their eyes. I mean, that's some serious power right there, to be the king of the skies. I mean, that would be probably a pretty lofty life, if you, pun intended, if you had to come back as an animal, a king of the sky, an eagle. And you never hear about eagles struggling, having to go hungry because they can hunt on land, they can hunt over the water. I mean, they can do so much. They can nest in certain places where predators can't get their young and that kind of thing. The only problems eagle have, well, not only problem, but one of the main problems being an eagle would be people. People and their interference. Um, Eagles become endangered species and that kind of thing. Um, so, and then I thought about, if I had to really, really choose to come back as an animal, I'd want to be a duck. And the reason why I say that is because a duck has all three areas of life covered. A duck can kick it on the land. A duck can swim. Ducks can dive up to 30 feet underwater to get food. 30 feet. I mean, that's pretty amazing. And then, obviously, they can fly. So they got the land, they got the sea, they got the sky, they got it covered. The duck, to have the life of a duck. But then you get, possibly have to deal with hunters. Again, people. People, man. I don't know. Perhaps it's best is if everybody, if God just wipes the slate clean and bring everybody back as an animal and make everybody start over, all over again, because when it comes to living life and getting along with each other, the only problem with any kingdom in the world is the kingdoms of humanity. The only ones that can't get along in harmony. Just sad. And we're supposed to be God's prized possessions, or, yeah, God's greatest creation. How about that? Yeah, well, that's questionable. But anyway, what if the Hindus are right? What would you want to come back as if you had to come back as a creature, a beast of the field? Anyway, just a reflection on an ideology of reincarnation from the Hindu point of view. This is the Reflector. This has been Reflections on Reality. Subscribe on YouTube. Share the link if you know anybody that would be interested in these kind of talks and whatnot. And be safe and be blessed.